When I entered the field, there was no such thing called augmentative and alternative communication. At that time, individuals that weren't able to speak were denied services. I found that in my first position as a speech-language pathologist at a residential facility for individuals with intellectual disabilities and physical challenges, that many of these individuals could not speak and all were denied services.
For Dr. Stephen Calculator, denying a nonverbal person speech services was inhumane. So he did something about it.
I developed communication programs for many of the individuals and saw that this had a tremendous impact as far as the quality of their lives. And that gave me a thirst for learning more about this field that was just on the brink in terms of exploding over the next 10 to 20 years.
He was one of the first to publish about individuals with Angelman syndrome, or AS, and their possibilities, not just their deficits. In the early 1980s, there was no internet, so to get his research out, he had to physically get out and meet people.
Well, I was at a conference in Washington, D.C. It was sponsored by the Office of Special Ed and Rehab Services, Department of Ed, and I gave a presentation on communication and augmentative and alternative communication for individuals with severe disabilities. I was walking back to my seat at the end of the presentation, and a woman that I later learned was Susan Ferguson from the Angelman Foundation grabbed me by the shoulder and said, "What do you know about Angelman syndrome?" And I responded, "Well, not a whole lot. I've seen a few children, but that's about as far as it goes." And she responded, "If you've seen a few kids, you're an expert."
From there, he started specializing in AS, and he met with more and more families. Families like Amy Clark's.
I have 2 boys with Angelman syndrome. Brandon is 19 and Timothy is 15. And Angelman syndrome pretty much consumes our life because 2 out of my 3 kids have it. Dr. Calculator has really been essential for my family because he came in and helped us at a time when life was really falling apart. Brandon was having a very difficult time in school, and it seemed like his educational staff just really didn't believe in him. Once Dr. Calculator came in, we had someone on Brandon's team who was able to tell the school what Brandon was capable of and what his communication skills were, why his behaviors were the way that they were, and what needed to be done differently with him. And so when Dr. Calculator came along, he was really a ray of hope for Brandon.
Dr. Calculator has consulted with more than 70 schools all over the United States and world, and he has well over 100 publications and presentations to his name.
One thing that I'm particularly proud of is my development of a system of gestures called Enhanced Natural Gestures. I developed these specifically for kids and adults with Angelman syndrome because at that time many of these individuals were using sign language and their signs were so distorted because of their physical limitations that they couldn't be interpreted by anyone other than a parent or someone that was completely familiar with the gestures. So Enhanced Natural Gestures became a way by which these individuals could communicate more effectively.
He says it's the human connection that has kept him going.
I've often thought that part of the syndrome of Angelman syndrome, when we're talking about seizures and we're talking about sleep disorders and intellectual disabilities and the laundry list of deficits, I think there's one component to the syndrome that's never mentioned, and that's the quality of the parents of individuals with Angelman syndrome. They've inspired me, they've kept me going, they've provided just outstanding motivation in all of my work. So what's kept me going is the signs from families that I am making a difference for their children.
Actually, he has made a huge difference. He has challenged people to raise their expectations of those with AS, and he has challenged the community to be much more inclusive.